Welcome back everyone to How to Speedrun Minecraft. This is episode 2. Today I'm joined with Minecraft speedrun extraordinaire, tourney dominator, former world record holder, Silverr.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, we're recording this on January 4th, and there's a new world record yesterday.
hmm
Do you remember your like immediate reaction?
Honestly, just like very surprising. Like I was
Yeah.
not expecting it at all, of course. I mean, with
hmm
world records, it's always kind of like, um, I don't know. It's like I guess like as somebody who like ran the game a lot and went for world record, there's like this weird like anxiety about like, oh my God, is it gonna be like broken today? Is it gonna be broken? But I
hmm
haven't run in a while, and so then this one kind of just happened, and I'm not like as invested in my RSG time currently,
Okay.
and I was kind of just like, damn, that's insane. It's really
Yeah.
hard to record now. It's really hard to record now.
Yeah, you have to play for like sub 6 strongholds, which is just stupid.
Yeah,
Um
it's insane.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when I was, competitively speedrunning going for like a world record, you're happy for that person, but it's also like, wow, well now it's just like even harder.
Right, because like everybody's working towards the same goal, and like you know, uh, you can't really like claim someone else like deserves the record more than anybody else in my opinion. It's just like just either happens or it doesn't, and like like
Yeah.
it's just the nature of RSG.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Minecraft is just like pretty different from a ton of speed games in that way. RSG, like, even though it's super skill based, at the end of it, it is like Minecraft speedrunning. It's so much randomness.
hmm the grind, you really got to put in the grind.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Drip's like a super good runner, and they have like pace to show for it, like 2 sub 7 enters, I think. But I don't think people were like thinking of them as like, oh yeah, like people are saying like, oh, like maybe we'll get the next record or Duga will get the next record.
Right.
But
Yeah, no, they were kind of like under the radar for sure.
hmm yeah, so you've been taking more of a break from like any percent. Is there like, I don't know, what, you just got tired of it or?
It was kind of so like okay, I had like this like period for myself with running. I was running a lot and I was feeling good and I was getting lots of pace. And then um it was like this kind of weird like when ranked came out, it was like I was playing ranked and then I was doing RSG and I was kind of straddling them. And I think like I kind of I started getting less pace and started getting on less like runs and stuff. And then I decided, there's a tournament for like ranked
Yeah.
and I really want to do well. And on top of that, I think that like ranked is the best way to improve at the game. Like it just is.
Uh,
Because like the nature of it is that like you're in a 1v1 against somebody else who's near your skill level, and if they beat you, then you can go into the replay and just watch the replay and okay, that's how they beat you. That's what you
yeah.
have to determine. And then you're just fixing your mistakes constantly. You're just like learning, adapting, adapting. And like, I like remember specific moments. Like I'll be playing a match this like a match like from season 1 and it like taught me so much and it was just like this match like against Raoul where I just got completely smoked by like 30 seconds because he found this terrain and it just made me completely rethink like my terrain nav. And
hmm
I talked to him about it and like in RSG you just reset. You just give up. And in ranked you get that feedback. And so basically I went into ranked. I really want to do well. I did well in season 1. I won the tourney and then
hmm
the playoffs. And then season 2 rolled around, and that's when Lockout Tourney happened. And I was really excited for Lockout Tourney, and I really wanted to do well, so I put a lot of time into that. And then season 2 ranked happened, and I was like doing that for a bit. I was doing like some other like just random side quests basically, and I just
Uh-huh.
never really returned, basically. Um, yeah, it's not like I'll never return, but
Yeah,
I still am motivated. I still care about playing the game. I'm definitely not happy about my run. You know, still like I'm just not. Yeah, I'm doing side quests, I guess.
fair enough. So you were you played in the ranked season 2 playoffs, you got second, and you were also like doing other tourneys and things like while that was going on, or did you mean just like in general?
Yeah, so the majority of that season was lockout tourney.
Okay.
So that took up like all of my time. Like I was
Yeah.
barely streaming. I was just studying, practicing, doing scrims. That was it. And after like after lockout tourney ended, the season wasn't over, but I transitioned because I think ESI was going on and like Moist Critical Speedrun Challenge
Yeah. Okay.
that I participated in. And so that went on, that was 2 weeks, and that was right around when playoffs was happening. So yeah,
Okay.
just like a few different tourneys that were going on and a few different things that just weren't like ranked or RSG related, really.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you still did super well in ranked season 2 plus. Are what about like season 3? Are you looking to like make a big comeback, or are you just taking a back seat, or what?
Um, at the beginning of the season, I was very kind of like excited, I guess. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna get number one this season. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna win the ranked playoffs. And I started off by basically trying to like change my gameplay entirely. I felt like I had been peaking, and I need to rethink some things and rebuild myself so that I can have higher peaks. And from that point, where I was like in the rebuilding phase, I was playing so awfully, and I also had like kind of a bad mental about it too because I was just forfeiting constantly, constantly, constantly. And I kind of like maintained my elo, I guess. I was like 1800, 1900, something like that. And then once I was like kind of used to things a little bit more, I started winning a little bit more. But then I don't really know why I stopped playing this season and just didn't play for like a long time. I think it was like kind of a mix of school and I was playing duos with Rain for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
like more recently I've been playing Lethal Company
Yeah.
with like people. I don't know. So yeah, I still plan to like the next today and tomorrow is like ranked season ends in like
In a day or two.
24 hours or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I plan on spending the next little while getting myself maybe into like a secure like seventh or sixth or something like that if I
Mm-hmm.
can. And ideally, because that will just make me go directly into playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I'll do my best in the tourney as well. I think in general I have a little bit more time now. The classes I'm taking are a little bit more chill, but
Nice.
at the same time I'm still like doing other stuff. I don't know, like um basically I'm trying to make YouTube videos.
Oh,
Because
really?
I yeah, I'm very like I guess I'm kind of trying to figure stuff out in terms of like what I want to do in my life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously streaming is great, speedrunning is great. But I think like obviously I don't want to like just say, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber," but I want to put the time in, and I want to like put the effort in and try and like see like how I feel about it, I guess. And
Fair.
and kind of focus on myself a little bit more because on top of that, it's like I think I'm not the most happy with my school situation with like
Mhm.
computer science. And so I have been thinking about switching my major to something more like along the lines of um, creative work stuff, maybe
Mm.
editing, maybe like that kind of stuff. Because it's always been something that I've been interested in, but I really want to try and spend the time and put time into it. And so I've been, but at the same time, I don't know. I've been kind of lazy lately. That's also just been a factor.
I see. I feel like pretty similarly. I'm a CS major. I feel like half the people in MCSR. um,
Hmm.
but I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick for it with it for a while, but I'm not entirely certain. Have you been
Yeah.
like reaching out to other Minecraft YouTubers and like asking for advice and things?
Yeah, so like I've been trying to I mean, obviously, I'm in HBG and there's a lot of YouTubers in there and there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who like care about content. So like I can always ask those guys. And then also like talking just I talk about it a lot with like people and then like I asked like B for advice. I asked and I plan to ask B for more advice too because like they're a great editor and just like
Mm-hmm.
um just trying to like talk about things, I guess, and just get myself more in that zone and in that mode, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
What content would it just like all be Minecraft speedrunning at least like in the start?
Yeah, so I can tell you kind of like how I've gone, I guess. So originally I had this plan to make this lockout tourney video.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's like kind of speedrunning-esque, but it's more like lockout is like a game mode, right?
Yeah.
So like it's not exactly speedrunning, but um and for that, like I realized this project that I was aiming for, I I I learned a lot, trying to like work on it and do it, but it was too big, I think, is what my problem was. And so
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was wasting a lot of time. And then now I've kind of transitioned a little bit and I am trying to make a little bit shorter, but still like actually like a lot of it is like struggling with like motivation and drive and balance as well because like I just it's hard sometimes. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm trying to make a video on the Dead Sofio Bingo Twitch Rivals event
Mm-hmm.
that I like placed first in the FFA and placed first in the squads mode because I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's like a dope like story, and I want to like get that across and I think there's something of value there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't I've never been a big content guy myself, so it's just very fascinating. But it definitely like takes so much time and hard work and research and
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. It's very foreign and like scary to me.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
So, any percent still on the table but not focusing on right now. Looking to shift into videos. Um Yeah, how do you so this is I mean we touched on this a little bit, but I was gonna ask like how do you feel about like your real life and like school and balancing that with your online things?
Yeah. So, yeah. This is kind of, you know, I feel like for me it's like a lot of my school life has kind of just been I'm going to school because my parents want me to go to school.
Yeah.
Um that's it. And I kind of have the mindset of like I want to put as little time into school as so I can put as much time into online stuff as possible,
Mhm.
gaming and friends and whatnot. And it's like I'm kind of there's consequences to living like that.
Yeah.
Um because I'm pretty successful in terms of like um what I've, I guess, accomplished online.
Mhm.
I like won some tourneys and whatever, but I'm also at a point where I'm like, okay, is this really like sustainable? Is this really like what I want, my
Mhm.
life to be, how I want my life to be, and like, is it really like smart for me to be kind of pushing school back so much? Um, because like it's not like I'm still like going to school, but like I'm not like focusing on it. I'm not like
Yeah.
committing to it fully, and I think it's I have to change my mindset up a little bit probably, uh, to more of just like a balance,
Mhm.
instead of just solely committing because yeah, I don't know. I just think it's probably better for me in the long run or something. But yeah, I don't know. I still just enjoy, being online, being around people. And it's like it's just so sick because like I can just talk to people online and they're just like I just meet people and I meet like whoever and I just talk to them and they're just like interested in the exact same thing as me and
Mhm.
we can just like yeah, the exact same interest. It's so easy to like relate to people, talk to people, whatever. And then on top of that, it's like um get like meeting up with people is so like, oh my god, I love it so much. I've just been like thinking about my like my trips and stuff, like going to Twitch cons and going to
Yeah.
Maryland for the speedrunning event and all of those and just thinking like, oh, I just want to do those more, like I just
Mhm.
want to do those. Um, they're just, it's just great. It's just fun. Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, who have I met up with? I met with Kruin, because
Oh,
I go to
nice.
school in the state, and I met up with Euster in Japan,
Oh
when I
shit,
was
that's
young.
sick.
Yeah,
That's sick.
that's sick. I don't know, for me, I mean, I've been doing this for like 3 years, and it just came to the point, and this happened like so many times. It was like I feel like I'm having fun, I'm doing things, this is cool,
Mhm.
and I wasn't focused. I mean, it was high school, so it's like whatever. But also
Right.
like I don't know, I feel like my mental health is like pretty bad, and I'm not like focusing on anything in my real life as much. Um,
Yeah.
so it's weird. And I don't know. I still like I always struggle to find a healthy balance, which is why I feel like I'm distancing myself more now from like trying to like for maybe like a year and a half, I was just focused on getting this AA record, and that was like basically it. And it was just like not healthy at all.
Right.
Um so yeah, but I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird,
I can
like
relate to that a lot.
yeah.
I can relate to that a lot.
It's pretty bad. But like with my like friends at college now, like um I don't like talk to them about speedrunning out. Like I've never told them that I do this stuff. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like my worlds are very separated.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like that's good, I think. Like having I like I guess it's generally not like good to like put all your eggs in one basket, like just completely
Hmm.
like zone into one area. I
But
don't know.
that's
I
just how
guess
like some
it's
people
just one of those
function,
things.
you know.
Yeah, that's my problem. Honestly, is like I feel like I mean the other thing too, the other thing that's like really just like pushed this mindset on me is like um it feels like if I'm putting less time in than other people, um then uh, like or okay, like, I guess like the way to put this is like um people always say it's like oh talent is like or being good at something is like hard work and talent or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't know exactly saying, but the point is like you need to put the time in because if you're not putting the time in, then somebody else will and they'll get ahead of you. And so it forces people to, and this is not even just a Minecraft speedrunning thing. This is just like kind of how I learned it, I guess, because it forces people to be like specialists, um,
Yeah.
and specialists are good, but it also like it can lead to a lot of very unhealthy things, I think. So I don't know. Some people haven't figured it out. Have it figured out. I'm definitely not one of those people. I think it's definitely like a process you learn as you go type of deal.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, it's
but yeah,
really tough. That's kind of just like how culture is like designed. Like you go to school, you major in just like one thing, and that's what you're good at. And you have to
yeah,
focus on
and
this one thing.
yeah, your work friends or whatever are all gonna be the exact same as you, kind of same area or same kind of like that. Like it's kind of just like it's interesting. I don't really know. I don't really. I'm not like
Mhm.
that knowledgeable in that, I guess, but I don't know. It is interesting. It's just like stuff I've been thinking about,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely
and
don't
it
feel
relates to speedrunning.
yeah. I definitely don't feel like qualified to give you advice on like the whole YouTube stuff and what you want to do. But I don't know. I think trying it, just see how far it goes, and you never know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think like, I mean, for me, like growing up when I was like 10 years old, whatever, it was always like, I want to be a YouTuber. YouTuber is my
Mhm.
dream job. And now I'm like actually in the position to like pick my job, and and I'm realizing like being a YouTuber is like I don't know. It's kind of like I think it's good to it's good to not put yourself in a box and sort of say like, "Oh, I can't do this." Um
Yeah.
or like it's so unlikely that I just shouldn't even try. Um so that's kind of why I guess like, might as well like, put time into it. And again, it's like you don't want to focus I feel like you don't want to focus on too much about like, "Oh, I'm trying to become a YouTuber. I'm trying to make this my job or my living."
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to keep my mindset kind of like I want to improve at editing, improve at storytelling, that kind of deal. And and yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like it it's still like it's good to try things. So yeah, I agree with you in terms of like
Mhm. I feel like
just
that
letting
like
it rip.
sorry, I think that like improving mindset is something that like you've always talked about, like with rank. Like even if you don't win the playoffs, you still want to like get better, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily always about just the perfect end result.
yeah, 100%. I think like I mean, that has been what has carried me through ranked, and ideally I can kind of stay true to that mindset and apply it to other things, I guess.
Hmm. But it's hard. Like
Focus
go ahead.
oh, just like I'm just, like focus on like building myself up rather than being like too like result oriented,
Yeah.
I guess.
I will say though that it's always hard because like with ranked, you have seen the results. So you won the first season, but there's just so much
Mhm.
in life. You might pour like years and years, and you just see nothing. Like I don't know, like
Yeah.
other this is random, but just like other speed games, people spend like 5+ years grinding one category before they see like any they even get a world record.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. And that is so weird too, like I mean, it I I'm not trying to like diss people or whatever either, but like sometimes you'll see like people and generally I'm more talking about like YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
But I've seen people who are very like um they're very like they put in the work, I guess, in terms of they are uploading videos consistently, they're making these kind of things, but then they're, like, complaining that they're not getting the results,
Mm.
um, and it's just because like, uh, it's just because like, they don't really, they don't have it figured it they don't have it figured out. I don't really know where I was going with
No,
that. It's just
I
kind
know
of like
exactly what you mean.
you have to it's it's like, I'm trying to put it in, like, a way where I'm not just saying, like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you have to
you're not just
know
dissing this
when to
person.
give up," or whatever, like, because I truly believe that, like, people can improve at things, but you have to go into it with, like, the correct mindset, and if
Yeah.
you're and but at the same time, what's even weirder is, like, oh, those people who play this speed game for 5 years and get nowhere until 5 years in, all of a sudden, they just, like, had to spend that time. It's like, "Oh, okay," they weren't doing anything wrong, they just had to spend 5 years to get to that point, and, yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy, it's just crazy, life is weird.
No, definitely. This is a very common thing I see in MCSR. It's like people put in like a year and then they PB by like 10 seconds. Like, was that their fault? Is it like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
No,
like if
it's
they were
brutal in MCSR too, it's
it
brutal.
is.
Uh, yeah, just luck aspect is just so tough.
Mm-hmm. What else has been going on? Cube came back today. That was cool.
Dude, oh my god, I'm so hyped. Okay, I was like thinking, in my head, I was like, literally today, on the SkyTrain home,
Yeah.
oh, that's like a subway, by the way.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
I'm just like coming home from class, I'm just thinking, like in my head, I'm like, wait, didn't people say Cube was coming back? Where's Cube at? And then I get like this ping, and it's like Cube's back, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just so happy. I fucking love Cube, man. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, world record gets breaking. Next day, Cube come back. Like, who knows what will happen? um,
Cube breaks the world record first day back.
I
Second day or whatever.
I want to see how far he goes. I don't know. It's weird. I just don't know. But I was thinking about this, um like old world records, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
know, like 2 years ago, like a world record. Like if you look at them now, like they suck and like no one knew what they were
Right,
doing and we were like bad at everything. But then like
right.
some of those same people can like still get the world record now. So it's just like interesting to think about. Like, even if we were all bad back then, like it's still like the same people a lot of the
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, yeah. The general just like improvement and progression curve of like the entire community as like strats come out and whatever. And like um it, like it's so in my opinion personally,
Mm.
um it's been what's the word for it? Um, the improvement of the community has just like increased,
Yeah.
like rapidly because of ranked and because of the like focus that people have on like smaller tech and just I think like a lot of runners just care a lot more about, playing like all around. I think like any form of like analysis, any form of, oh, this is better because of like any kind of learning like that just like improves everybody so much. If you're like,
Mm.
because you see somebody do something, um, like for instance, I I like watched Priffin's PB.
Yeah.
And I watch Priffin a lot. I mean, not like a ton, because especially around the time he got his PB, I wasn't playing a ton.
Yeah.
But I learned like two distinct things in that run that save, a decent amount of time, and it was like so unique. Like since when have I like learned like that
Mhm.
much from a PB? And it's just like now I'm going to use those things and I'm going to apply those things. And then anybody who watches me will now be able to use those things. And then
Yeah.
everybody
Do you
just
remember, like,
um
specifically what they were?
yeah, yeah. So the two specific things are the first one is in his double stables triple row
Yeah.
was he blocked off the piglins and then mined the gold block and then finished off like mining the hole and all of that other stuff. And if you think about it, it's just changing the order of what you're already doing. But I mean, technically, you might like have to mine one more block, but you're overlapping mining the hole with like all of the piglin pathing, and especially with double triple, piglin pathing is so like the pigs come from so far and they come so late that you really want to get the aggro off as early as possible. And this is just
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a safe, clean way to do it. And that could I could see that easily saving like 5 seconds, if not like more, considering like the potential for late pigs, potential for all this other stuff. And then and so like I love that. I love that. I love when there's like
Mm-hmm.
routing, straight up routing differences. And then the other one is kind of just like a piece of tech, I guess. Because Griffin was like coming into my chat and he's like, oh like I thought of this thing where like you place the boat for bow die before you exit the nether.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was kinda thinking like, "Oh, like, why would this be correct?" Or like how, because his setup was like a little bit jank, a little bit weird, and I wasn't super convinced of it, and then I watched his PB, and he does the boat, like,
Yeah. Yeah,
getting
I know what you
the
mean.
boat angle well in the portal, and I'm like, "Oh my god," like, it's solved, like, that makes a lot of sense, and honestly, like, that one, though, is, like, for me, it's, like, a lot of muscle memory change, so I haven't, like,
Yeah.
learned it, but I'm aware of it, and it's kind of like, okay, whenever I can like, I wanna spend the time to commit to, like, learning that new, like, muscle memory, then I think it's just correct, and it's just, like, a couple seconds, you know?
Mm-hmm. I I first saw like Do Guile do that. I'm not sure you can. I'm assuming Priven came out with it, but I haven't like seen many people do it since. Is it just like people don't? I don't know. Is there any like downsides
Um,
to it?
you could, make an argument that because, w what people do, after, when you exit the Nether and do normal bow die, you, you place the boat, and then, like, once you get out, you immediately have all your desync removed, so you can
Mm-hmm.
immediately throw your eye. But, um, there are a lot of cases where that isn't possible. You get your boat angle, you go to throw your eye, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm in, like, a forest right now, there's trees all around me, I can't
Mm-hmm.
throw this eye right now, let me, like, climb up this tree," or whatever. And then at the same time, you can also make the argument that, okay, instead of like, since you don't get the instant, like, desync removal, just do inventory management while you're waiting for your desync to end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then in that case, like, it's just like you're placing and breaking the boat entirely overlapped. Like, it's entirely overlapped, so it just has to save time. And so, the majority of the people who don't do it, maybe okay, like, maybe because I haven't tried it, there's something that I haven't thought of. That's, entirely
Fair.
possible, but also Priven's, like, a great runner, so of course, um like, you can, like, trust good runners to do good strats, um, but, uh, yeah, like, people probably just don't do it because, it's a little weird, it's a little bit, it messes up your muscle memory a little bit, you have to change things up, and in the short term, it'll slow you down for sure, but in the long term, I think it saves time, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you probably won't like fully know until you start trying it. So
Yeah, that is true, that is
yeah.
true.
Um, I asked this question to maybe also. Who are like your MCSR role models, and have they like changed over time, or have you just never had any role models?
No, no, I've definitely had role models. I mean, I can like try and think back to like when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess initially when I got into MCSR, like my initial involvement was because of XQC.
Yeah.
So he was like, but like I never watched XQC for strats because I knew he wasn't like the guy.
Yeah.
Um, but like, so then I like I got very quickly invested into like just the community. Like I kind of always had this like I just really enjoyed being um in like low viewer chats for a long time.
Mm,
Um, I just I just like the vibe
yeah.
so like as soon as I was into speedrunning, boom, just followed everybody and anybody who I could find that ever did any speedrunning at all, and I would just watch their streams, and so like the big people that I remember is like um, Ben X. I
Hmm.
would watch Ben X and then K4,
Yep.
and so I think like those two. So Ben X was earlier than K4, but Ben X like um back then he wasn't he was good, right? He was good.
Yeah.
But he was just good at very, like, specific things, and he didn't really, like, care that much as soon as, like, new, like, tech and stuff sort of, like,
Yeah.
started, and so he was, like, kinda slow and late to stuff. Um, and I just remember, like, learning one cycling from Benix, just by
Uh-huh.
watching him, and I would, like, I don't know, like, if you know what I'm talking about exactly, but the dragon does, like when you're, like, doing, like, the like, east-west one cycle where you jump and it's, like, front to back or whatever, the dragon does this thing where, like, it swings its head in, and then it has this, like, little stutter where it, like, swings back a little bit. Um, and so it I would just, like, try to time my beds exactly on that swing back in, which is just way too late. It's like that's, like, literally, like, 0.5 seconds too late or something like that, and I would do no damage to the dragon, no damage at all, and it was, like, so silly, but I remember, like, thinking to myself, like, "Oh, I'm just gonna practice this, and just be so good at one cycling so I never choke it whenever, like, I have,
Yeah.
like, a good run." And from that, like, I, like, started to one cycle and stuff, and I actually did get good at it. I spent, like, 15 hours straight or something. Not, like, straight, but, like, 15 hours, like, practicing total,
Uh-huh.
of one cycles, which is, like, a lot for, like, me back then or whatever, but and then, it was like I remember specifically because the dragon would send the dragon at you from random angles when we didn't, like, understand, like, the dragon one cycle map. I don't know if you remember that. Send, like, the dragon at you from random
Is
angles,
this
so you would
Emma's
just have to
map?
one cycle. Yeah, I think it was Emma's map.
Okay.
Um, and so I remember, like, I would get 4 beds, and I would because I have them recorded, like, on my PC, like, "Oh my god, I just 4 bedded," and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta get, like, really good at 4 bedding and stuff," and then I don't know why it never, like, clicked to me, but the 4 beds that I was getting were only when the dragon was sideways, and so even for, like, months after that, I was still trying to force the one cycle to be straight front and back,
Yeah.
and even though it was just correct for the one cycle to be sideways, and everybody, like, realized that, like,
Uh-huh.
it was just so silly that I never, like, put 2 and 2 together. Um, but yeah, and then also, like, I put all this time into one cycling, and then, um, I just choked, like, the rest of my end fight in, like, one of my first PBs. I just died before I could even get to the one cycle when I entered the end. It was just it's so goofy. My priorities are all just, like, weird and random, but it was fun, so, like that.
Yeah. I remember there was like I feel like when I first started, there was always this like joy of like just learning things, like random things,
Mhm.
just getting better. And I don't know, I feel like I've like lost some of that over the years. What do you think? Like,
Right.
do new strats still like excite you? I mean, there's not much like crazy new tech anymore.
Yeah, well, I think, the problem, I guess, is that, as, we were so spoiled as runners with the tech that we got. I don't even know, what was the date, like, early 2021 or something, where it was just every day there would be something
Yeah.
new, something interesting that somebody was working on, and you never knew if this new interesting thing was gonna be completely game changing, like, everybody like new world record like should just happen now or whatever, like that kind of thing. And um, we were so spoiled because of how good it was that I think it makes like everything that happens and people come up with a little less like exciting, at least for like the
Mm,
people who have experienced that. And but for me personally, I think um I recall that time as like, it was a great time, it was fun, because like also this is what I was gonna say too,
yeah.
like watching K4 really early on, like that really motivated me to be very tech oriented with my speedruns.
Mm,
And I found that like super like just fun just to like try and find these like new and better ways to do stuff. And I really just carried that like throughout my entire like speedrunning. Um, but yeah, so like with new stuff as they come out, it's it's hard, it's more infrequent, it's more like, is that really faster? Is that really better? Oh yeah, maybe that saves like 1 second every 10 runs. Like I'm not gonna switch to that or whatever, like that kind of deal. But at the same time, I try to keep as open of a mind as possible. I
yeah.
really like with any new tech, anything like that, I really try just to like, and so sometimes, I'm not like the best with this, but I really try to like just make sure I'm giving it a fair shot, I guess, in terms in like in my head and in like practice of how it works and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, new tech still excites me. And new improvements that comes out. Like I mean, there are just like there are just I mean, obviously top runners are coming up with stuff, but then also, there's just people who spend a lot of time and they just like make strats and they just come up with strats. And I mean, like the people I'm thinking of, I guess, are like Crossroads and like Exosolver.
Hmm.
Those are like the two in my head at least. Where it's like I'll just see a video that they sent and like I'll be like, damn, I never thought of that. That's just better. That's just faster. That's just
Hmm.
cool. I don't know.
Strat devs just like really I carry the community. I don't know. I feel very similar to you. Like I feel like I've tried to be very tech oriented.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I stopped caring about RSG any percent as much, so I haven't kept up as much. But that's like part of what drew me to AI so much because you can do like infinite number of
Yeah.
just like micro time saves, so
Yeah. I mean,
it's
it's like
fun.
RSG plus an extra 2 hours and 49 minutes or whatever. Like, yeah, yeah.
The flip side of that is that the run is so long, you can do like 50 micro time saves and then you'll just like lose 10 minutes to something out of your control. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is like the other like spectrum or the other side of it. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to be tech oriented at all. Um, especially in MCSR, especially with the game that we play. Um, it's like it's so much so reliant on luck. And also I feel like this is something that I've sort of noticed over time. I don't know if you can maybe like relate to this, but um it's sort of like okay, like when I'm like playing against Feinberg, um it was like originally I was like trying to be a better ranked player than Feinberg, right?
Hmm.
And it was like so like I'm like in every like metric, like I should be better than Feinberg, I should be better. But it was all these things that I just wasn't thinking about. Um like for instance, I wasn't thinking enough about my consistency.
Mm.
So and when you and consistency is like a massive thing, and when you like apply a lot of new tech and a lot of new things, you're not as consistent,
Yeah.
because you haven't done 1,000 runs with it. um you're just trying it out. You have to change up your movement, you have to change up the small things. And then like on top of that, like there's no, to me at least, like I think, I mean, they work with each other, but like, decision making is like, it's not about. it's not really about like the tech. Okay, no, hold on. I was saying this kind of wrong. It is about the tech you use. Like the decisions that you make change depending on like what route you do or stuff like that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like developing your decision making skills is like and just like being instant and snappy and fast with them is like it's completely different than learning tech or learning strats or whatever. Um, and so like Feinberg always kind of had this like thing where it was like he didn't need to learn the best possible micro time save because he would just make a better decision than you or whatever on the
Yeah.
seed. And honestly, a lot of the time be that would be very like related to terrain nav, which there's not really tech for terrain nav. I mean, you can
Hmm.
think about like okay, like generally, try to look upward because you might miss terrain above you. Um, Generally, like you want to go to like the open areas and all of that kind of stuff, but it is just such an intuitive thing that you just get by like playing the game a shit ton,
Hmm.
and you're not gonna you're not gonna get that intuition from like grinding a portal for like 4 hours,
Yeah.
so like so it is weird, you have to create and again you have to create like that balance, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
um
You know what this made me think of? This one time, I
what
think it was in I-1 tournament, where Fine had like a route so different from anyone else's. He went to like a second ring fort or something, and the commentators were like, "What the heck is going on?" And he just like destroyed everyone. It was
oh
like, wow,
yeah,
like I don't know, no one else even like considered that as an option. It was crazy.
yeah, it's like you can like maximize it's just like so it's like um your improvement is like so variable, I guess, like in what like you focus on. If you focus really hard on your mechanics, you can be amazing mechanically. Oh my God, wait, that just made me like think of a memory. Do you remember this um this runner that was like an like I want to say like a survival games player or something like that. I don't remember. I don't think he spoke English or like he didn't speak English much or something like that. But um he was like oh, I remember his name, Spectral Player. Do you remember Spectral Player?
No, I don't.
Dude, I remember everybody being like, "Oh my God, this is the next greatest runner." And they were saying that well, he had like a 16xx when people had like 12s and like
Yeah.
11s and stuff. They were saying that because his crafting was so nice and so smooth and so like just and that was it. It was like, "Oh my God, this guy's like amazing. Nobody even has like as like close to as like fast and clean at crafting as him, and he's gonna be the next best player." And I was just like, it's just like crazy to like think about how like you can be so incredibly like min-maxed in one area, like with mechanics or whatever, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're like gonna be a great speedrunner or a great player or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's just a funny memory. And yeah.
That's good. Do you have any advice for runners at any level?
Uh, like yeah. So okay, I'd say I'd say the biggest things for a runner at any level is you have to be critical of yourself and you have to be very perceptive of other runners. You don't have to play ranked to improve. Um, you can just be very perceptive of other runners and what they do and how they play and the routing that they take, and then kind of trying to like take that info, practice it, and then apply it. And that's like kind of the process generally.
Hmm.
Um, and then on top of that, like don't and yeah, the applying part is very important. You have to be you have to be doing runs because runs are a completely different feeling than practice. You can't just
Yeah.
practice only and then like run 4 months later and whatever. You're not gonna retain the information. You're not gonna um be like nearly as good as if you had been like incorporating the applying part of that, which is like the running. And then like um I mean, of course, like, you have to have like fun with it. Um that's how that's how you stick with it for like a long time. You can't like yeah, can't be too worried about like the small stuff like, oh, I got unlucky here, I got unlucky with this or whatever, because it'll just like eat you alive. Like that's just like the nature of this game is that you're just gonna get bullshitted and bullshitted and bullshitted and bullshitted, and you just have to roll with the punches, kind of. Um,
So like
yeah, yeah, that's
how
basically
yeah, that's good. How important do you think mental is? Like give a percentage in Minecraft speedrunning.
mental.
Just
Um,
like, your mindset and things and
I mean, like 100, isn't it 100%? I mean, like if you have like, I mean, like okay, I guess like you could have a really like you could have like a horrible mental, and then maybe you still get on runs, but I just think like um you're just it's never gonna work long term, and especially with
yeah.
RSG and grinding and doing like you need the long term. Like you just need to be putting in the grind, putting in the effort consistently, and that's gonna be where your improvement comes from. So you just really have to, yeah, like just be accepting of that or whatever.
Mhm. Okay, I have one final question. Is there any, like, you can name multiple, any, like, super tiny random micro time save that, like, you think that barely anyone's doing that everyone should be doing?
Super tiny random. Ooh, I just thought of one.
Yeah,
Okay, this is like a routing thing. So on treasure, um, okay, this doesn't apply to everybody, but it applies to everybody who does the Bastion route, the kind of normal way with like the boomer or whatever,
yeah,
boomer route. When you go up and you get your gold, right? You drop the piglins, the gold in the right rampart, and then you go head over to the left rampart. You mine all the gold blocks there. What I see some people do, and probably nobody has ever thought about, like, either you just do this intuitively the correct way, or you probably just don't care because it's, like, so small and you just have to do it the wrong way, but you should run back to the other rampart, and then craft your gold into ingots. Because if you craft your gold into ingots on the left rampart, then you're not overlapping the piglin pathing. Point 0.1
wow,
seconds.
that's
Yep.
crazy. I never thought, wait, that's crazy. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Start doing this and you might get world record.
That's how it works.
um, yeah, all right. Thanks so much, Silver, for coming on. This was really fun.
Yeah, thanks for
And
having me.
I hope people take some good stuff away from this.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fun conversation. It was great idea. Great idea.
Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Do you have
Mhm.
any future guests you think should come on?
Future guest. Um, that's a good question. You should try to get, you know what you should do? This is gonna be nearly impossible, but if you could do it, it would be amazing. You should try and get like somebody who is like a no mic runner or barely ever talks,
Really?
and get them to talk for an hour. Like that would be amazing. You got
That would
like
be funny.
Dugile, Low Key, any of those guys, like, you gotta get them. You gotta get them on somehow. Um, yeah,
All right.
impossible task, but if you can do it, I would be amazed. I would be very impressed.